from the children of the divine will.
A ministry guide. Discipleship in the divine will. 5 introductory lessons, revision 6.2. Version 1.1. Pre-lesson. Purpose, acronyms, notations, and the golden rule. Pre-lesson. 1. Purpose. Purpose. Continued. The purpose of this book, a ministry guide, Discipleship in the Divine Will, 5 introductory lessons, revision 6.2, and the video is to provide basic lessons to introduce others to the gift of living in the divine will, thus fulfilling our call to be missionary disciples in the divine will. It is for personal use only and is intended to be shared for evangelization purposes. The content herein has been extracted from public divine will websites unless otherwise specified. Last edit date, May 9th, 2024. 2. Acronyms. BOH, the Book of Heaven. DW, Divine Will. L, PTABG, Love, Praise, Thanks, Adore, Bless, and Glory. PPF, Past, Present, and Future. 3. Notations. Notations, continued. In this presentation you will encounter inserted text identified as being enclosed by a set of brackets whose font's color is purple. The inserted text is used to help explain, clarify words, expressions, or provide examples. When a YouTube video is displayed in the format 1 minute and 2 seconds, the video is denoting a play time length of 1 minute, 2 seconds. The squiggly, purple dotted box highlights a YouTube video links. Notations. YouTube channel. Children of the Divine Will 365. Symbols used to denote. YouTube video. YouTube channel. PDF download. Audio download. Notations. YouTube video. Dropbook series. Continued. Steps to take to view a YouTube Children of the Divine Will 365 video. Search. Children of the Divine Will 365, no space between words. Open the channel. Click on the Children of the Divine Will icon. Open the playlists. Click on the playlist's name. To be opened. Click on the video. Click on the name of the video. To be watched. Steps to take in viewing one of the 3 Dropbook videos. Search. Children of the Divine Will 365, no space between words. Open the channel, the Children of the Divine Will. Open the playlists, Dropbook series. Click on the video, enter the name of video to be watched. 4. The Dropbook series. The Dropbook video names are Dropbook number 1, Read aloud a drop in the immense sea of the divine will. Dropbook number 2, Read aloud a drop deeper in the immense sea of the divine will. Dropbook number 3, Read aloud a drop at home in the immense sea of the divine will. Notations. Dropbook PDF. The Dropbook series, based on the writings of Luisa Picarita, can be downloaded from the Dropbook series website or purchased from Amazon. Note, the Dropbook series receives a 5 stars rating for the best introduction book learning about the divine will. 5. The Golden Rule. The Golden Rule, continued. The Golden Rule comes from Tony Hickey's Living in the Kingdom of the Divine Will, or simply called the Blue Book. Tony derives his Golden Rule from Book of Heaven, Volume 12, February 16, 1921. Jesus said to Louisa, "My daughter, to enter into my will, the creature must do nothing but remove the little stone of her own will. It is as if the little stone of her will prevents the water from flowing into the shore. The analogy is referring to the little stone, as doing your will, as impeding the soul from flowing into God's divine will and God's divine will flowing into the soul. But if the soul removes the little stone of her will, i.e., stops using her will and uses only the divine will, at that very instant she flows in me, and I in her. She finds all my goods at her disposal. Strength, light, refers to knowledge. Given to you by God, help, whatever she wants. It is enough that she desires it, and everything is done. When Jesus' humanity suffered in the Passion, he spiritually healed everyone, past, present, and future, through his divine will. This is how our prayers rounds reach everyone, from Adam to the last person created on earth. Because God has allowed those who chose to fuse with his divine will to pray their rounds, in the same manner that Jesus, Mary, Adam, and Eve, before sinning, and Luisa Picarita were doing. Additionally, our single act gets multiplied to cover everyone's acts, that is, God's divine will which resides in our soul, after fusing, connects our acts to Jesus' divine acts or the acts which Jesus did in his humanity, and Jesus, being God, multiplied his acts to cover everyone's acts, including the missing acts, and he redid the bad acts from Adam to the last being. For example, when we put our love, praise, and thanks for the beauty of a flower that God created for us, we are doing this act for everyone, in all time, as if everyone did the same act to give love, praise, and thanks to God. That's the power of living in the divine will. But it doesn't end here. Jesus takes all our acts and wraps them with his divine mantle, also known as the mantle of his divine blood, thereby giving all the acts as his own to God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. This means it's not our human love, praise, thanks, blessing, etc., which God is receiving, but it is God's own love, praise, thanks, blessing, etc., that he is receiving. When you learn more about living in the divine will, you will learn about the gifts that God gives to his children who have chosen to live in the divine will, while still living on earth, and Jesus allows his children, those who are living in the divine will, to use his divine gifts, and we begin to become the image of another Christ, the purpose for which we were created. It is Jesus who does all the work. Added in version 1.1 in practice, Tony Hickey's golden rule, we desire it, and Jesus does all the work, means surrendering your human will, promising not to rely on it, and choosing to live and act in God's divine will. This surrender opens the soul to divine acts, Jesus' prayers, rounds, and sufferings, as well as his acts of love, praise, thanksgiving, adoration, blessing, and glory, including his actions of speaking, listening, looking, breathing, walking, working, and everything he did in his humanity. Jesus offered to God the Father the acts and prayers of all mankind, past, present, and future, making up for what was missing and repairing what needed to be restored. Because Jesus is infinite, present everywhere, and eternal, present to all time as a single, ever-present now, his acts and rounds are eternal too, and they remain available to anyone who chooses to live continuously in the divine will. Like Adam and Eve before sin, the Blessed Virgin Mary, and the angels and saints in heaven. This union with the divine will is often called fusing. By praying daily the prevenient act and frequently renewing your surrender, you ask to do every act, every round, and even every suffering only in the divine will. In this way, your acts, actions, prayers, and sufferings are joined to Jesus' own divine acts, prayers, rounds, and sufferings, because it is a divine will to divine will union. United to him, these offerings are multiplied and wrapped in Jesus' eternal power, love, and holiness, making them acceptable to God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Therefore, it is Jesus who does all the work. For example, you gather everyone's acts, past, present, and future, because Jesus' humanity has already performed these acts, and his divine acts remain for all eternity, and, in everyone's name, you give God the love, praise, thanks, adoration, blessing, and glory he deserves and requires from every creature, soul, while also making reparation for all offenses. You then conclude the round by asking for God's kingdom to come on earth, so the original order of creation may be restored and God's plan for humanity fulfilled. There are 2 additional entries, writings, from the Book of Heaven that supports Tony Hickey's golden rule. We desire it and Jesus does all the work. These entries are Volume 16, March 19th, 1924, and Volume 19, September 3rd, 1926. References. Source: A Ministry Guide, Discipleship in the Divine Will, 5 Introductory Lessons, Revision 6.2. Video done by the Children of the Divine Will. There are no copyrights restrictions posted on any of the internet pictures. The picture of Luisa Picarita recording the words spoken by Jesus, the Children of the Divine Will, 365, icon and animated flames were created with a variety of graphic tools. Publication notes. Pre-lesson. A ministry guide. Discipleship in the Divine Will. 5 introductory lessons, revision 6.2, version 1.1. Last date review, June 1st, 2026. Review status, under review orientation, landscape. Added, internet images and graphic tools images. Correction, 0. Version 1.1, expanded the Golden Rule definition. From The Children of the Divine Will.